Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a new video in my weekly playlist series. We've made it to Friday again, which means it's time for me to let you guys know about the games we've been playing, let you guys know my thoughts and opinions on the titles, whether I think you guys should check them out or not. Of course, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the games I shared with you today. Let me know if you've played them before, maybe there's something you liked about them, maybe there's something you didn't like about them. I'd love to hear about the games you guys are playing, as that gives me ideas of new games to check out. And if you guys have a recommendation on a game you think I would enjoy playing, let me know. I'm always looking for new games to play and experience. So I've got two games to share with you guys this week. One for the Xbox 360 and the Sega Genesis. I've still been playing some older games. So we'll start off with the first one, which is for the Xbox 360. And it is a digital-only title for the Xbox Live Arcade called Blood Knights, and it is a 3D isometric action RPG where you get to play as vampires who are hunting other vampires and creatures and demons and stuff. And it's a really interesting game, kind of an oddball, kind of obscure action RPG that I don't think a lot of people have heard of or have played. So let's take a look at Blood Knights. Hey guys, today we're taking a look at an obscure old action RPG called Blood Knights. This was released in 2013 and it's for the Xbox 360. It is a digital-only Xbox Live Arcade title, but it is backwards compatible on the Xbox Series X. They recently had a sale on the Microsoft Store, and I got this for like only $2 a couple weeks ago, and it's normally sells for $10, and I figured it'd be kind of neat to check it out, as this is definitely one of those budget AA type of releases. We saw a lot of these kind of games in the 360 era days. We don't really get these kind of games today. It's fun, but it's definitely not one of those 10 out of 10 games. This is one I would call like a 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5. The basic idea and story of this game is that you play as Jeremy, that's the character on the right. He's a vampire hunter, and he, with a group of people, are trying to stop vampires from taking over the world. He is bonded to a vampire, Elisa, next to him through magic. And it doesn't tell you why. These games don't really give like big, deep backstory, just kind of throw you into the world. Well, in the very beginning of the game, he becomes a vampire, so he now is what he hates the most. And he has to fight vampires by being a vampire himself. And his own brothers have turned on him because he is now one of the undead. And so that's where most of the story takes place, when you're trying to stop vampires as a vampire. And once you become a vampire, you actually unlock new moves and stuff. So let's check it out. I've played so far for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I am currently level 5. Now, it's not a super long game, as you can beat this. I think people said like 5 or 6 hours. What's pretty cool though is it does have co-ops. You can play local co-op, as you can play between the two characters. If you play single, you can switch between both characters by pushing Y, where Jeremy is a melee character, so he has his swords and melee abilities, but he also...
strangers in the night. By the looks of you, I'd say I'll have to kill you next.
So he also has vampire abilities, where she's a ranged character that fights with crossbows. So you have two different play styles you can play together with. And then you also have the RPG elements. Now, I gotta warn you guys, the voice acting is not the best. This is also one of those budget type of voice acting. But the game does give you choices. You can do good choices as a human side, or you can do more vampire choices, because you do have decisions whether to kill people or spare people. And that comes into like your good or bad moral choices by being a vampire now.
By the looks of you, you're one lone man far away from home.
Well said.
Fair enough. So what is it you want? My blood? You won't get it without paying a toll.
We don't want your blood. We need your help to enter the town.
I'm afraid I've got other worries today. See, most of my men are dead or dying. This vampire witch has been haunting us for months, killing my people one by one. We had to try, but none of my men came back. But here's an idea. You, Vampire Creed, get down there and drive that vampire witch out of her den. In return, I'll spare your lives and forget that I ever saw you pass.
Most generous of you.
Don't worry. We'll go in there and chase her right into your arms. Then we'll see what kind of fighter you are.
You'll know soon enough.
See, just it's just the voice acting is kind of silly, and then like the character model, like he wasn't even looking at the screen; he kind of just looked off. It's got that classic budget title to it, but I've always enjoyed these kind of games. So there's me using one of my vampire powers.
We need to go back and pass through the arch.
And I'm playing on a normal. There's a normal and hard difficulty, but this game can get really difficult. But you can get health that enemies will drop, but you also, in the middle of battle, you can drain enemies of their blood, and you use blood to heal yourself, which is cool. And there are also some platforming in the game as well.
Hunting vampires. Well, things could be worse.
So if I switch to her, I can do some long-range attacks. And then there's also these little collectible coins that you can find throughout the world, which then unlock abilities and stuff. And in the menu here, you do have your RPG elements where you can equip different kinds of armors and weapons and stuff that you find throughout the world, and they are based by the level and how much gold you have, because there are merchants you can buy stuff, as well as you have your typical RPG skills, which you can then equip. And you can actually switch between the two different characters. And as you level up, you gain more skills and stuff and can become stronger. So I can also say this game kind of reminds me a little bit of like a budget Baldur's Gate or a Dungeons and Dragon type of game. And then those little red orbs there are health, and it also can find random gold and stuff around from the various creatures that you will fight. And there's a lot of hidden stuff for you to find as well. And random chests, which you can then find loot. And you can see when you have something better, you can compare the info on it. So now I have a little bit stronger armor there for him. And so it's key to keep finding equipment and keep getting stronger, because as you play through the game, of course, it gets a little bit more difficult. And then you'll find these random people here, which you can actually then drain their blood. You know, obviously you're killing them, but you can use that to heal yourself, which I'll show you guys in a battle here real quick. Draining an enemy of their blood in the middle of battle to strengthen my character. So you can hold it there with your magic, and you can drain them of their blood a little bit. So it's definitely key in these kind of games is you've got to be moving and dodging and not just standing still, because if you just stand still, you will die quick. And I'll show you guys what it's like with him. And it has your fixed cameras that you normally have in these kind of games. And you have your light attacks, you have heavy attacks and stuff. So periodically, during battles, you do want to initiate that blood suck ability so that you can heal yourself, because the checkpoints in this game can be kind of shitty. If you don't make it to a save point and you play for a while and die, it'll put you all the way back of where you are. There are some random parts where you do have autosave, but you have to be careful though sometimes, as the game doesn't always save for you. Ooh, just leveled up. And there are little hidden traps and stuff, so you guys get the basic idea of the game. It's definitely, like I said, it's one of those budget action RPGs that we saw back in the Xbox 360 days. It is backwards compatible. If you can get it pretty cheap like I did for a few bucks, I would say it's worth checking out. I don't know if it would say it's worth $10, but for the $2 I paid for it, you know, I'm going to get the fun of like playing this game for like between 5 and 8 hours in the story. You know, it's a short little adventure action RPG, and I've always enjoyed these kind of budget Xbox 360 releases that we got back in the day, and you just don't see these kind of games anymore on modern consoles. So definitely one I think you guys should check out. So that was a look at Blood Knights. As you guys got to see, it is a budget release, but it's one that I've been having a lot of fun playing with. I'm very close to actually beating the game, and I should have it beat here within the next couple of days. I thought it was worth definitely paying the couple dollars I paid for. It goes for $10, so you guys will have to decide for yourself if you think it's worth playing. Just know that what you're getting into, it is a AA released game. You know, it's definitely not a top tier action RPG, but it's one that's still pretty fun. Now we'll talk about the Sega Genesis game that I've been playing, as I have been playing some more retro games lately, and this is one that I've enjoyed playing. It's one that I loved as a kid, and I have not played this one in quite a while, but it's a really interesting, gross title from the 90s. It is called Booger Man, a pick and flick adventure. Now this was a cool game. It's also released on the Super Nintendo as well, and this is where you play as Booger Man, who is like a superhero but has really gross humor, where he has the powers of burping and farting and throwing boogers at people and digging through poop and going down toilets and stuff. It just screams the gross 90s. If you were a kid in the 90s, you knew about all kinds of the gross stuff, and this game definitely fits into the whole gross 90s that we had. Really fun game. I've enjoyed playing on both Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, but I've always enjoyed the Sega Genesis version the most. So let's take a look at Booger Man, a pick and flick adventure. Hey friends, today we're taking a look at a really interesting and cool game from the 90s called Booger Man, a pick and flick adventure. And this is the Sega Genesis version, but it was also released for the Super Nintendo. And my brother and I have always loved this game ever since we rented it from a little local family-run video store in the 90s. It was just really odd seeing this game, and we're just like, oh, this looks weird, let's rent it and check it out. And we loved it because it had such crude humor. Like, anybody that was around in the 90s as a kid can tell you the 90s was big on crude, potty humor, and just things that were disgusting. You could look at the toys, you could look at movies, TV shows, like Nickelodeon stuff. And this stuff is what we had, and it just was always an interesting game. So let's take a look at it. And it does have great voice work too for the game. The voices do sound pretty good. Flatulent Swamps, level 1. That's another thing too. So this game is all about disgusting potty humor. You can throw boogers, you can burp, and you can even make him fart to kill enemies, and he digs through poop and stuff. It's just so odd and weird, but my brother and I just absolutely loved it, and I still love it today. It's been a while since I played it, so might be a little rusty. Red! But it's a fun little disgusting platformer. And I have beat this game a few different times as a kid. I remember we rented it, my brother and I just could not beat it because it is definitely not an easy game. It does have really memorable boss battles and stuff. But once you learn how to play it, it becomes very fun. And you want to find these little plungers, because the more plungers you find at the end of a level, you can actually unlock little extra stuff, lives, and things like that. And so you want to go out of your way to explore, to find everything, and extra one-up lives, and little secrets and stuff that are hidden throughout the game. So you can open that and get a secret in there. So it's just cool how the game was filled with stuff like that. And it just was full of silly potty humor. And I just absolutely love this game. Just craziness. And like I said, it's for the Genesis or the Super Nintendo, which I've owned it on both and I played it on both. But we mostly played it on the Genesis because that was the first one we played at the time. And those little outhouses here, you see there's a little outhouse, that is your save points. If you do die, because you can only take so many hits, and it goes by the color of your cape, if you die you'll have a respawn there. Oh, and there's also too, seeing the thing, you can actually make him fly by shooting out flaming farts too. Just a silly game. Oh, and here we can go up and here's how you teleport, being sucked up into a nose. It's just funny, but this is how the 90s were. The bosses too were great. Oh yeah, there's you can go down into the sewers by flushing yourself through a toilet. This is cool. And it's absolutely disgusting. Got green boogers everywhere, and you dig through shit. And it's just crazy. Do you have a burp and fart meter, so you only have so much gas in your body, so you have to find it so you can keep doing those powers. Right. But like I'll fart on this guy. And I burn him with a fire fart. You also have the platforming that you can jump on some enemies as well. Oh god, there's one of those big enemies. So you do have to watch, there are some enemies that will take more than one hit to beat. And so you do get a variety of minions too. And you have an overall story of fighting this one evil guy, but overall, you know, just a fun little crude humor game. Ah, damn. And I love how the guys make a fart noise when they die. So this is where, if you have enough of those, you can get that free guy up there, get that extra life. And I didn't find enough for the secret to get the extra, continue there. And then now you have the flatulent swamp level. So you guys get an idea of the game. You get to go through different levels. There's even like a Boogerville. The bosses are crazy. Like one of my favorites is this guy called a Hick Boy. He's a southern hick dude that has a chicken that he throws at you, and he goes, "Hey!" It's just memorable bosses and stuff. So if you guys like platformers and you want something really odd and weird, check out Boogerman. It's either on Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. It's great on both consoles. I could play it on either one. I just prefer the Genesis one myself just because I like the Genesis sound. But the Super Nintendo one would be just as good. And it's a really fun game. So if you like crude and sick humor and you like platformers, definitely check out Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure. Alright guys, so that was a quick little look at Boogerman, the pick and flick adventure. You guys got to see that game. It has got decent graphics. I like the voices in it. I enjoy the layouts of the levels. You know, just a fun little platformer, but it's definitely disgusting, where you can kill enemies by burping and farting on them and throwing boogers. And you get sucked up into noses as little, like, they, like, kind of teleport you through those stages and stuff. And they have disgusting names like flatulent swamps and stuff. It just screams the gross 90s. I mean, that's just what the 90s was all about, was, like, grossing out and nasty stuff. You know, kids just ate it up. Just a fun little game. I definitely think you guys should check it out for either the Sega Genesis or the Super Nintendo. It's a really, really fun game. Had a lot of fun with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, we talked about the Blood Knights game that I played for the Xbox 360. It is backwards compatible on Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles. It is a digital-only title, so you can only buy it digitally, but it is priced at only $10. I got it on sale for just like $2-some. The Microsoft always has sales on their marketplace, so maybe that might be one you want to keep an eye out for on a sale and check it out. Like I said, it's not the best game in the world, you know, it's not the best action RPG, but it still is pretty fun, and it's like the kind of game you just don't get and see in today's marketing and today's generation of game. You know, they don't really take risks with these kind of random IPs that we would get like we did back in 7th gen days of Xbox 360. So definitely you guys should check out Blood Knights, kind of cool. And of course, you know, we talked about Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure. This is an awesome game, all about crude and nasty humor, and it's just a really fun platformer, and one that I've enjoyed playing for the years, and it was great going back and playing it again. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the two games I shared with you today. Of course, I'd love to hear about the games you guys are playing, and if you have a suggestion on a game you think I would enjoy playing, let me know. Always looking for new games to play and experience. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have a great day and sleep, and we'll see you next time.